watching ITV Gold, and I'm your host, Aditi Lama, with cameraman Rajat. And today, we have the honor of having none other than Mr. Rajat Gupta on his new launch, on his new book. Thank you so much for being with us on ITV Gold.
Thank you.
Mr. Gupta, you are considered someone who has truly been very open about his rise in corporate and financial world of America to all that you saw, and you embraced it with so much humility. My question to you is, where do you drive this humility from? And when you wrote this book, how difficult was it to keep that going and still feel that humility and peace that you always portray whenever you speak about your experiences?
No, it was not easy to write the book. I mean, I started many times and I stopped, and because it's a hard book to write. First, it's hard to write about oneself, and then it's hard when you've gone through a lot of difficult experiences, and you have to relive that. And it was difficult, but I have to say, in the end, it was very uplifting, and I enjoyed writing it, and I've been happy with what came out, because what I want to do is to make sure that young professionals, young people read it and learn some lessons from what is an interesting life with its ups and downs.
Right. Your book, Mind Without Fear, everybody, it talks about giving you a voice that you felt that during your trials and during your experience you didn't have. When you were trying to portray the voice, what were certain things that you really wanted to highlight that people should know about you?
About me? Well, I think I have to say that, you get a lot of time for reflection.
Right.
So a number of things you think about are, and I'm not just talking about me. The justice system is quite broken, lots of issues and problems, a lot of people in prison suffering unnecessarily with long draconian sentences, to be in solitary confinement, for example.
Right.
For 8 weeks, that's like torture.
You were in it 3 times.
Yeah, for minor, it's not anything significant. So those kinds of things need to be highlighted and solved. I also think that it gives you time to reflect on what is important in life and what is not. And the ability to think and detach yourself from all the trappings around you is a very, learning environment. So I enjoyed doing that, reflecting on it. And I think it is important that we take life in perspective, and there will be always ups and downs. And it's not so much what happens to you, is how do you deal with it, with grace, with humility, and so on.
You've been very calm about the procedure. When you ever talk about your prison experience or all the things that you felt were being done unfairly to you, you still have such a strong face when it came to adversity. Where did you gain most of your strength from, and has your family been a huge part of that strength?
It has been, and I lost my parents when I was young. That was the most adversity one could ever think of, and I learned to deal with it. And I think it comes from that strength when we were, the 4 of us, the siblings were orphaned, and we stayed together, and that is a very much a formative years. You learn that. So.
Talking a little bit more about the book, because I would love for us to reflect on another theme that you've really brought in the book, which is forgiveness. With your experience in the prison and after that, you've been very open about the fact that you're not trying to go back into the indictment or question it. You are just trying to move on. You're not trying to rectify a reputation. Why did you have that opinion? Because perhaps many people in your situation, Mr. Gupta, would come back and be like, I need to clarify, because I never had the time to clarify.
No, I did obviously clarify. I give my perspective in the book.
Right.
But that was not, I'm not trying to relitigate the case.
Exactly.
The case has been done with, dealt with. It's not that our justice system is perfect, it makes mistakes.
Right.
People can judge for themselves. I'm not that, I'm not trying to convince you of my innocence or my, most important is I know I didn't do anything wrong, and that's good enough for me. What I really wanted to do was much more to have an authentic book where what kind of emotions you go through, what kind of experiences you go through, and how to deal with life as it, all the challenges it throws at you.
With all that you've learned the last couple of years and all that you've spoken about, with the huge portion of Indian American youth looking up to you, with all the experience you've had in financial life, what's one key advice you'll give to them for their careers in that particular field of corporate or financial America? Things to do, things to look out for, perhaps something that maybe South Asians should watch out for more?
No, I think in general I would give the advice to be a true professional and learn and work very hard with the right intentions. Don't become a careerist, kind of what is the best thing to do. And then if you do the right things and if you work hard, you will eventually get the fruits of it, but don't worry too much about it. Sometimes it will work, sometimes it won't work. That's the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, and I completely subscribe to that.
I've been meaning to ask you this. For someone who's seen pretty much all aspects of glory and the opposite, what is success to you now? And what is fulfillment to you now?
Fulfillment to me right now and I've always been kind of helping others, coaching others, being caring human being. That's more fulfilling than any yards of success.
And we are coming to a close of the interview, Mr. Gupta. The immigrant population is massive in this country. You are a proud immigrant. As you said, you held yourself up and you made yourself. What's an emotion you have towards the immigrant Indian communities right now? And if you were to make a comment on their success or their progress, what would you say?
I think it's a great country. I mean, honestly, America has made me and given me all the opportunities. So I think being an immigrant in this country is fantastic, with all the opportunities open to you. So I'd say do your very best and you will be successful.
And one last question for you, just because we are in this amazing season of a lot of political debates with elections coming up, what would you tell all the citizens, or just people living in the US, about how they should look at politics, how they should look at the system, and what should be the key things for anyone to consider that you can advise on?
The first thing is they should be involved in the political process. And I'm glad to see so many Indians stepping forward in the political process. That's wonderful.
All right, well, thank you so much for being with us.